breakfast puppies?
This podcast contains adult language and content and is meant for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
You're listening to The Glitterbois.
So this next one we're going to do, we alluded to in our last one. This is Rift Sourcebook 3 Mindwerks, and it is one of the great covers, and it has a very, very good villain. Unlike what we were just bitching about, if you're like watching us all, listening to us all in order, and getting your fill of that Palladium goodness, which I suggest you do. This is a worthy next book. I really enjoyed this one quite a bit.
Yeah, so much like Sourcebook 1 was to the core book, this book is all of the stuff that didn't fit into the Triax book. It's a lot of new places, new villains, new creatures, new characters, and a little bit of new gear.
And it's kind of fucking brutal.
Yeah. I think that the story behind this is so much more interesting than the stuff from the previous. Like, we have a new villain, yes, an interesting new villain that has an interesting story that is connected to an interesting place and we get to see more about one of those character classes that have always just been kind of hand-waved, the crazies. We get some cool insight into the story of the crazies. I love it.
Yeah, there is a lot of stuff on the mom technologies here and on the German-based company known as Mindwerks. It's there's some interesting stuff with the matter over mind over matter was what mom stands for. We have a few pages on that, both the public image, what they put forth, and what was actually going on behind the scenes. And I love when Palladium Books does stuff like this, where they just give you massive walls of flavor text. So you not only get the stats, but you get the feel for it. And I love when they play story time, and they do it really well. Sir.
The Angel of Death.
Yeah, we do want to talk about her. Okay. This is the big baddie.
I honestly, of the books that have come out so far that we have done in this chronological order, my favorite villain so far. Yep.
Yeah. She makes Archie look merciful. And like all good villains, she was forged out of tragedy. She's
another villain that had her origin in being humane and humanitarian and protective, and snapped. The stress of what she went through would destroy lesser minds. It just snapped hers, and snapped hers in wicked, horrible
interesting
ways.
Yeah.
One thing I want to start with right off the bat is they call her the Angel of Death. They give her this form, this sexy boobs and all of this stuff. But you know what I love is that she is not described as a beautiful character. That so many female villains, especially the female supervillains, are all like so beautiful, so attractive. Like, check out that PB score, completely normal physical beauty of 12. And Palladium has done female characters that were robotic or, monstrous in some way that still had beauty. She's just average. It's not part of her persona. I love it.
Are you trying to say that female characters can be something other than just a beautiful thing for small young men to obsess over? Like that there's like this whole thing of the self-valuation and self-will and oh my Lord.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love titties too, but I like an interesting character where suddenly it's like, not only are they interesting, but they're female, and it's not one of those fallbacks, female, hot, attractive German woman kind of thing. It's okay. She's female, but she's also cool, and we're not going to care about the beauty. Whereas so much male written text is like the very first or second sentence that describes and introduces a female character comments on her attractiveness.
not using a lot of terms like husky voice and yeah. Though they do, I will say that she likes to kill with seduction, which does kind of fall into that trope.
All right, true.
Yeah, it's just one of the things. So she was saving kids burning in a hospital and got burned real bad right by the door, was pulled out. She and the kid burned over like 80% of their body and used her Mindwerks knowledge, which is, did we ever explain that Mindwerks was a mom factory?
Oh, yeah. Mindwerks is where it started. Yeah. All that mind over matter technology, what we come to know as crazies today, is rooted in Mindwerks in Germany. That technology has spread around the world. Yeah, but here's where it comes from.
Those designer German drugs.
Yep, yet one more of these German companies that survived the apocalypse. Apparently, if you look at the way that the ley lines are kind of set up, a lot of the areas in Germany were not exposed to some of the to a large amount of the cataclysm. So it kind of makes sense that a lot of things survived out there.
Also, the Angel of Vengeance, which is her sidekick, is the little girl she saved from the hospital, who is also horrifically burned. They get off on just murder sprees. Like they're big fans. They cut up, they experiment, they torture, and while she is a bit like nicer about it, like they're both really into the badness.
Yeah, they're both pretty terrible, and all the things that they do are pretty terrible. Their entire staff is terrible. They, you know, if maybe you ever thought that there was something good and wholesome about crazy technology, well,
it's rooted in like real bad.
But yeah. So we get a deep dive into mind over matter technology, a much deeper dive than we ever got with the original crazy stuff. We get talks about new types of implants, new types of mom augmentation that augment or modify the existing crazy stuff. And I love the cynetic stuff, like the implants designed specifically to implant psychic powers. And I also love that every single item here has terrible drawbacks. Like they're all like, oh, here's this cool thing you can do. Also, you're fucking insane in this way. And here's this other cool thing you can do. Also, you can't eat, well, you know, you can't eat anything but feet. Or like, yeah, it's some really cool stuff.
Yeah. And because it's Rifts, there's also some new robots, you know, just because robots. I like them. Once again, they are not your stereotypical bipedals. A lot of different shapes and designs.
And I think a lot of that is owed to the insanity of their designer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a more organic feel to both the weapons and the robots. There's some new ways to be a crazy as well. And there are also their version of Borg and some sort of like mystic. What was it? The Ecto Traveler, which seemed interesting. It was being like Elastic Man. Yeah.
There's the The classes in this are really cool. I am particularly fond of the Null Cyborg. They are 100% about psionic defense while also kicking ass. I like when you can take a character that is rooted in technology, but give it some kind of a mystic overlap.
Yeah.
I love seeing that kind of merging of powers. Some of the other classes are just, you know, modifications of things that you might expect to be there. There's like the human version of a dog boy and kind of stuff like that. The new character races are, again, they showcase some true vision that I think went into this. That is once again a shame that this stuff wasn't included in the first book or in the in Triax.
Yeah.
The Azverkin is
the knight,
such an interesting. Yeah.
The
I like that they look so terrifying and yet they're actually cool dudes.
Yeah, they look very alien.
Same with the Lycanmorphs.
Yeah.
Like the Lycanmorphs are these hideous shape-shifting insectoid-looking things, but they're all generally cool dudes. You have this book of awful things, but some cool dudes in there.
Yeah. The Seekers are very nice giants that look real, real weird.
Yeah, the Explorers are interesting.
And then this fucking sim van. I can't believe how much time we spent skirting those assholes. You know?
Well, a sim van horde will fuck you up. Dear listener, we were running a game in the Rift's New West, and the sim van are mentioned frequently in there. So I was like, I'm just going to map out some migrating sim van hordes. And the players are like, there's about 6,000 giant monsters in there ridden by some crazy looking guys. We're going to avoid them.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time on them.
We have some torture wizards. We have some monsters. We have some more monsters.
I like the Megafoot Mastica. That is my favorite critter in the book.
Yeah, it really does look cool. I like that its feet are actually attached to its upper body, but they're so long they descend below. And
it looks like it eats at the top and sees at the bottom too, because the mandibles are at the top, but it looks like the sensory and fine maneuvering equipment is at the bottom. Like it's alien as fuck, and I like that.
Then we've got the gene splicers.
Yes,
they are, a nearly impossible to defeat source of, enemy power. They've got some cool weapons. They fuck with some things here. However, my favorite aspect of the gene splicers is the added randomness that you can use. They have some new ways, if you want, to take the notable traits list that they have here that's on page 66, or to take that and use it as inspiration to just create some new races. Or if you need a random DB to throw in a game as an NPC, you've got the stuff that's in the Butts edition where you can randomly roll that stuff, but here's some more that you can add to them. And I love that level of variety.
I also like that everyone kind of has their robotic minions in this too. Like they have their iBots and their spaceships and their three-headed wolves and things like that.
Yeah, everybody's got their robot friends. Everybody's got their little monster minions. This book is like, here's all these villains, and here are their pets.
Yeah,
including the next evolution of the Great Tree. We have the Tree of Darkness.
Oh,
and I gotta say, the Tree of Darkness is way cooler than the original Millennium trees.
But the picture is the same, and I like that. I'm here for that. If you notice, like that really annoying picture with the druid and the Millennium tree that we both bemoaned when we did that one, this is a mirror image of that picture.
Yeah.
Like he's standing on that little rise to the right. He's got his little animal friend, the three-headed dog demon, and his eyeball that he's petting. Like I love this picture so much more.
I love so much about the tree, this one, because the tree itself isn't really considered to be a powerful thing, but it possesses power that others can use that is really bad, and it has portals to everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh God, yes, portals. It can be, okay, you got me thinking actually. Last time we talked about Millennium trees and how they kind of themselves as entities within a game, they themselves won't have that much overt power, but it's the items that can be crafted from the Millennium trees that can be quite interesting. And some of these things are so powerful that they're close to rune weapons. They could be sought after. They could be the MacGuffin of a campaign kind of thing. These evil items that can be pulled are just as cool.
Yeah. That said, still, I don't like that Germany gets the Black Forest and that the Black Forest is evil. The Schwarzwald is it's a lot of fiction takes place within the Schwarzwald throughout history. The von Becks are there. Michael Moorcock of Elric fame spent a lot of time fucking around in that part of Germany. there's a lot of cool stuff that happens there historically, and I think it should have gotten a little bit more treatment. Because I can, like, with their taking of rune weapons, I know for a fact that someone here has read the Elric series, so they know the guy's work, and they could have done so much more with that location with the Black Forest.
I think there's a lot of locations that they can do a lot more with.
Yeah,
I know that, again, it's limited space. I think the thing about the Black Forest is they have a few pages, they have a few paragraphs dedicated to a brief description of it, and they're not the most intimidating paragraphs. It just describes where it is.
Yeah.
You can encounter these kind of creatures there. We got a lot of hunters and trappers that live there. Here are some other types of inhabitants. I think they just sort of focused on some specific inhabitants of them, and instead of going out throughout the whole damn thing. Now, but they do have regional highlights of it, starting on page 76, several villages that are out there, including some that are quite nice. And not just that, you have Munich, and in Munich, we have the stats of Victor Laszlo, who, well, Victor Laszlo is one of those names that is associated with Palladium all the way back. It's one of their recurring NPCs across multiple different campaign settings.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Black Forest isn't all that bad, really. I think it's just like leading it off with the Dark Millennium Tree.
Yeah.
You can definitely get the sense that it's an evil place, but I think they maybe are giving it more respect here, and we're just coloring our perceptions with that goddamn evil tree.
It's entirely possible.
Yeah.
That said, there's some shit I really like. I like the NGR mobile infantry strike base. I love a big landbound SDF-1.
I really like that picture, the fight that's happening here on page 82 with the gargoyle. I like that it shows the scale of the conflict here.
Yeah.
Oh, and yeah, that goddamn tank. Woo-hoo-hoo. That's awesome. There's a lot of good art in this book. Just
yeah. And a lot of it is bloody. There's a lot of blood here.
Mm-hmm.
I like what they did with Poland. I like the legend of the Tarnal crystal. I like that it's, a huge extra dimensional entity that will probably be a world destroyer if anyone ever cracks it out. Like there's a lot of hooks in here.
I like that it is currently being directed as a force for good that is clearly on its way to corrupting its user.
Yeah. There's just a lot of cool stuff.
It's a good book.
Yeah, it really is a good book. And it should be bought in tandem with the book before it, the arms and equipment and the stories.
I think looking at these two books, were I to run any kind of thing in Germany or in that general area, I suspect that I'd get more mileage out of this book than the Triax book. The Triax would be heavily referenced for gear stats. Definitely.
Yeah. This one has way more maps. Can we talk about what happens right after page 108? We have just, the city map. And then we have, the nation of human maps of the area. And this is all Europe. And then, you have a map of the Gargoyle and Broadkill. And then you have a detail of the Black Forest and the Broadkill Empire close up. And then key ley lines. And I mean, just so many different ways of looking at the place. I love that. I love maps. I love maps. Can't get enough of them. That's pretty much where the book ends, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, hell, I don't know what it goes for now, but I do know it was $13. It was totally worth it at the time, and if it's not much over 20, it's totally worth it now.
Yeah, I'm looking at the copy that I'm holding here, which is the first print. $11.95. Yeah, from the store. Yeah,
I've said it before and I'll say it again. Palladium does give the best bang for the buck.
Best value
with their printing practices and yeah.
Yep.
Love this book. We kind of like skipped over some of the villainy in that, and some of that is I didn't want to give away too much because I really liked her. You should read it yourself. It's good. Yeah.
I feel the same. I think the story is worth reading. I think her details are worth reading, and her henchmen and allies. They're fascinating. I know that she has one alien ally that's listed there right after the Angel of Vengeance, and he is really cool too. Everything that's happening there at Mindwerks is fascinating, and I think is far more interesting for campaign fodder than the Gargoyle Empire.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, and not to spoil it, that's on you. Go find it. Yeah, I recommend this book. I love the art. There's a couple thing or two that I have a little issue with, but it's not big. Like there's all in all, I'd say this is a great book, and you should probably add it to your library.
It's good. It's solid. Yeah. I do think, however, similar to the previous book, it needs you're going to need to do a pass on the numbers if you want to use it in line with some of the stuff after the Ultimate Edition. This is a good 11 years before the Ultimate Edition came out. And in that 11 years, Rifts really experienced some numerical creep that the Ultimate Edition, I personally feel the Ultimate Edition did a really good job of redistributing some of the power.
Agreed.
Bringing it back to the core classes. But again, give it a numbers pass, GMs. Look at this book. Run the numbers on any item in here before you bring it up, because it actually might need a little bit of a boost.
Yeah, I would agree. I still want to figure out something to do with the gargoyles. I really liked your idea of the rampaging horde. Like just sweeping down, darkening the skies, tearing apart all life. And only the fiercest defended cities prepared for this can turn them aside. And it's not that they defeat them. It's that they fight for a little bit and then say, it's not worth it. We're going to go over here. And it's just like this ravenous horde of gargoyle. I like.
It could even be a cyclical thing. Yeah. Where there are maybe these hidden portals to the gargoyle dimension, where this monstrous horde of flying demonoids comes and raids the German countryside. And they don't stay for too long, but they do their best to hit hard wherever they go. And now, making it even more interesting, we can say that the Broadkill perhaps are the ones who are doing their best to defend these portals, because they're all about chaos.
Yeah.
They see all of this happening. These gargoyles sweep out and they clean up the remains. They come out and they grab all of the fallen loot and they take the cybernetics so they can bring it back and attach it to themselves. So really, I think the horde itself, you could use it as like a cyclical threat that builds up and builds up. Whereas the Broadkill could make for the more interesting villains that you have to hunt down and destroy these portals.
Yeah. Or even the Broadkill are the ones like not only guarding the portals, but perhaps unleashing them. And the poor gargoyles, they come to England because there's this part of Europe, because there's not as many ley lines. And maybe that is somehow amenable to their nature. Like they don't exist very well in high magic areas.
Yeah,
I don't know. Just could do more. I really liked your idea though. And I'm probably going to file off the serial numbers and steal it for something I run one day.
Do it, please. Take it and run. Run free, run far. Run screaming the whole time.
Well, I think that pretty much wraps up the book. I hope you liked it. I liked this book. Source books have so far been really good.
Agreed. Yeah. I've been impressed. I think we might have some duds coming up down the line, but I'm not sure right now. So far, we're 3 for 3.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked everything about it. And I really liked some of the directions they're going in. I really think that especially art design is coming along and evolving with the IP and the properties. And you're really starting to see that as opposed to hulking warrior stance number 16. You're starting to see some true original thinking in the design of the various machines and aliens and alien machines, and it's plain to see that more thought is going into it.
Yeah, I I can only agree.
Yeah, and I think that's where I'll leave it. Yeah, it's great. Love it. Get it. Buy it. We'll see you next week. Bye.
See you next week.
You've been listening to The Glitterbois, a Palladium Books fan podcast. Glitterbois, Rifts, the Megaverse, and all other such topics are the property of Kevin Siembieda and Palladium Books. Please buy all their stuff and help keep them in print and making more games. You can order directly at palladiumbooks.com, and their entire catalog is available digitally at Drive-Thru RPG as well. Our opening music is 8-Bit Bass and Lead by Furby Guy from freesound.org. This closing music is Caravana by Philip Gross, available at freemusicarchive.org. All sound effects used are self-made or acquired via Creative Commons Zero license. If you like what you have heard, find us on Twitter and Facebook as The Glitterbois. That's BOIS. And check us out online at breakfastpuppies.com/glitterboys. And also join us on the Breakfast Puppies Network Discord at breakfastpuppies.com/discord. And if you want to help us out, please spread the word and help us build a community. Thanks again for listening. We'll catch you next time.